I am plan B. So I get a little confused with like plan B because I always think like, well, when you change your mind or something doesn't feel right, you go to plan B. Because I started at the University of Iowa. I thought that's where I would graduate from, but when your sister gets sent to Desert Storm, you want to be closer to home. So plan B, move to Brookings, South Dakota and go to SDSU. Like that's been my life. And after I graduated from college, I thought I knew what I wanted to do. Wanted to work for an advertising agency in New York City. Yeah, that hasn't happened yet. I am waiting for that to happen. It's probably not going to, but it's not a big deal. So I worked in Chicago for a couple of years. That was as close, I wouldn't say close to a big city, but after that, I just remember I had an opportunity to go to North Carolina. And I remember flying there and thinking, what am I doing? I know nothing about printing. I was in the graphic arts and I kind of stayed in journalism in that medium, but I was like, printing, okay, I work for a newspaper company, I'm printing, but now I'm like moving, I think I'm gonna go to North Carolina. So it just kept happening like that. I moved to Southern Illinois 2 years later for opportunity. Again, no job, just opportunity. I thought I was gonna start my own consulting company in printing. Didn't happen, but I was there for like 6-8 months. Okay, plan B, better figure something out. Again, not happy, but content. You know, it was always like I was searching for something more. And then I landed in Lincoln, Nebraska at Chemical World at the time, and it was a huge company. You know, they had plants everywhere. And I thrived in that. I was an account manager. I remember going into that company and everybody being like, yeah, she's like gonna be 30. She's not gonna stay anywhere because she's had all these jobs and moved all over. And I remember saying to my parents, I'm only staying there like 6 months until I can find something else because I don't want to live in Lincoln, Nebraska. 8 years later, you know, it wasn't necessarily plan B. Like I met my husband there. I was able to just move within Chemical World. Like people invested in me and people saw something in me. Within 3 years, the manager position came open and I was like, well, I should apply for that. I'm pretty good at, like, I've proven myself. I caught on quickly. I learned a lot. I was out on the floor. I did that in North Carolina too. Like, I wanted to get down and dirty with the people, like the people, not the executives, the people. You know, if I could relate to them, I knew that they'd follow. And if I needed something from a customer standpoint, they'd do it because they knew that I wasn't above them. So that really helped me in Lincoln. Lincoln was a huge plant. It was over 1,000 people and I just thrived there. About 3 years after I got promoted in Lincoln, our plant, they were closing the plant. And because of relationships and because of hard work, I had a lot of offers to go to other plants, both my husband and I, because we were both in printing, and St. Cloud was the best place for me. And I remember it thriving here too. It was so great building the team. And then our company obviously went through a ton of financial problems. Printing is always changing, so there's plan B there too. And in 2010, after being here several years, we were bought out by Quad Graphics. And I knew the minute it happened that wasn't gonna work for me. First of all, I had to wear a uniform, which I felt like that was stealing my identity. Didn't like it. And it was blue, and you can't find blue pants. There's nowhere you can't find blue pants. And you had to wear blue pants. They couldn't have pinstripes. It was ridiculous. And it was all about equality and people being equal, except that if you were in management and got a bonus, your name was embroidered with yellow instead of white. It was just so, like, I knew instantly, like, this is not gonna work for me. And I don't even know what to say about it because I know I tried for several years, but it was the first time in my life that, like, I knew I had to leave somewhere, but it had to be it wasn't because I was choosing to do that. I knew it was because it didn't align with who I was and what I wanted to be, and what we were building in St. Cloud. And then I really started struggling with, like, I'm not good at anything. Like, what am I gonna do? So I just started consulting on the side because I was just so unhappy at work. Everyone was unhappy at work. It wasn't just me. And in the process, as I was consulting with an organization in Dassel, Minnesota, they offered me a full-time job. So then I took a job in process. Like, I don't even like rules, let alone like process. What the heck, But I'm like, well, I can do it. And I don't know. I think the whole point of this is that was plan B. But if I look at it now, I'm not sure I was supposed to do that. That was me moving. Like that was me moving myself out of a situation because I was so unhappy instead of being really intentional about what I was doing. So I've been with American Time 4.5 years. And in January, I knew I needed to make some changes in my life to find happiness. In March, when I was going through my review, I was like, stop talking. This really happened. I was like, stop talking, I'm leaving. I'm not even quite sure the ramifications of what I've done yet, because I do say I'm probably going to be moving back to the farm with my parents at 47. And if that happens, then I'll humble myself. But because when people say, well, we just don't have the means to do that. Believe me when I say my husband and I don't either at all. We don't have the luxury of taking my income out, which means that we have to make sacrifices and changes. But what I've realized is passion, purpose, and my mission are much more important than my income and the car I drive and the house I live in. So if those things have to change, then I'm so willing to do it. I look back and I really did a ton of blaming. But I think blaming and defensiveness, they can really control our lives. I blamed Quad. I blamed the owners of Quad. I blamed the uniform. I blamed printing. I would blame anything. I would think of an excuse for anything to just stay and wallow in my misery. I feel like you have to let go, whether it's anger, resentment, and it's not easy. It doesn't happen just because you admit it. It doesn't happen just because you talk to a trusted friend about it, because there's grieving and there's healing and all of that, which is interesting as I go through the transition in my life now of releasing that anger over the last 4 years and just saying recently, I deserve to be happy. So I'm just gonna serve. I don't have a plan. I don't have a plan B or C, D, E, or F, which has never been the case. But what I do know, because my sister said, so what if you have to get 3 jobs serving at McDonald's or a bar or a restaurant? You'll work 3 jobs, Kathy, to support yourself, but you deserve to be happy. Ideally, I am letting God lead me to plan B and his plan instead of Kathy's plan. I have so much peace and contentment, and I am such a better employee and person and facilitator, and each day is a new day and there's just freedom in it. And the trust that I have in God and not in me in providing, it's been crazy, crazy good.